That's a tough
And I've
offense.
always said it. Tight end's a rookie's best friend at quarterback. So
Mike Gesicki.
Gesicki, he's an interesting character. He was with Miami. He actually had a few decent years with Miami when his sophomore, junior, and senior year with Miami. He actually did okay. 2020, 2021, he had over 700 yards. Not a huge touchdown guy those years, but last year in Miami, he did have 5 touchdowns. So not last year. I'm sorry. 2022, he had five touchdowns in Miami. Last year in New England, he just was really not a factor. You know what? I'm not. He's listed number 1 on the depth chart. Again, to me, he's just a bench player until we see exactly where he falls in with this Cincinnati offense, because he's brand new this year. And I just don't know. I just don't have any level of confidence of him right now in that Cincinnati offense until we see where Burrow feels comfortable going and stuff. With them losing Mixon, maybe, I don't know, but
and losing Boyd as well. So
yeah, so it'll be interesting. I just to me, every time these guys start a new team, you just never know where they're going to fall into the plans of the offense.
Yeah, and I think the only reason I ranked them at 19 is because I think that offense is going to be more pass heavy. I don't know if Zach Moss is really going to have that big of an impact in their offense this year. I could really see them swaying more towards the passing game and having Chase Brown in there, but I think them losing Tyler Boyd opens up a better chance of Mike Gesicki having a better year this year than in prior years, because he's always kind of been stuck behind like 3 guys on another he's really just been stuck behind Tyreek Hill going up for 1,600 yards a year.
And I agree with you. The other thing that we didn't talk about here is that Chase is still holding out. So, and they're saying he's not going to get on the field until he gets a new contract. So if that goes into the regular season, then
then his stock kind
of then we could be talking about it. So right now, I think he's definitely a draftable guy. I wouldn't consider him a starter right now unless you were desperate, bye-week replacement, but definitely a bench player.
Tyler Conklin.
Yeah, listen, Tyler, he's another one of my sleeper tight ends this year. This guy, I loved him when he was in Minnesota. Last year, he had over 600 yards on 87 targets. He had 61 receptions. He wasn't a huge TD guy, but here's the difference. This year, he's got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is out on that field. Rodgers likes to use his tight ends. He likes to use them in the red zone, especially. So I think Conklin could have one of his best seasons ever if Rodgers stays healthy. I really do. I think Rodgers is going to be really dependent on his tight end and his running backs coming out of the backfield along with Garrett Wilson. And whenever they're in the red zone, to me, take this to the bank. I think Conklin is a guy that he's always going to be looking for.
Well, yeah, I think his main targets will be like Garrett Wilson and maybe like Breece Hall, but he's all like with those 2 weapons alone, if they don't get open, you have Tyler Conklin probably wide open somewhere there on the field. So like I think Conklin's in the perfect spot. He's got the receiver, he's got a running back to help him get open. He doesn't need to be like, a Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce, like being the guy, but he's gonna get the ball a lot. And Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. Like, this dude's a freak of nature, as much as I hate to admit that, but
well, in the last 2 years, he had 61 receptions last year, 58 the year before.
What terrible quarterback.
And he was averaging, around 600 yards each of those years if you combine the two, and stuff. So I don't know. I just think that Conklin's another guy that's only going to go up. It wouldn't surprise me if he hits into the top 10 and stuff. He's definitely someone that should be on your radar for drafting to have as a backup. And you know what? I'm a big believer in the QB tight end combination in fantasy. So if you got Aaron Rodgers and you're thinking about starting Aaron Rodgers, and that's your QB, I wouldn't hesitate to draft Conklin and put him in as your starting tight end if you don't got one of the other studs.
And think about it this way too. His last year in Minnesota, he had 600 yards with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback. I think we can, for the most part, agree Aaron Rodgers a little bit better than Kirk Cousins, but that aside, like I mean, that alone, I should say, is like a solid reason why you should at least have him as a bench player. Juan Johnson.
Yeah, here's another guy that is interesting. Uh, his biggest problem is he just can't stay healthy. He hasn't had a full season with the Saints since he's been drafted. Last year he missed 4 games. The year before he missed a game. His sophomore year he missed 3 games. His freshman year, his rookie year, he missed 10. This guy just can't stay on the field. When he's on the field, he's a beast. Especially in the red zone. He had 4 touchdowns last year in only 13 games. The year before he had 7. So it's really hard to judge this guy. And he's dealing with something right now as well. So my biggest problem with this guy, and actually I think I probably have him ranked a little bit too high, is that I don't have any level of confidence of him staying on the field. If he shows me he can stay on the field and stuff and be consistent on the field, I definitely think he has an opportunity, to be in a top 20 tight end. But so I think I have him a little bit high. I definitely think his arrow's going down because of the fact that he is dealing with a little bit of an injury and stuff. So you got to keep your eye open on him. To me, right now, I have no level of confidence. To me, I think a Conklin, a Gadzinski, those even a Fant probably are Otten are a better option than Johnson right now.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But if he does stay healthy, that could be a pretty good year for him. They did lose Thomas, so moving on from him, we got T.J. Hawkinson.
Listen, I love Hawk. I think Hawkinson's was a great addition for the Vikings. He had an unfortunate injury, last year, late in the season. I mean, he did play 15 games. But that might be part of the reason why Detroit got rid of him, though, because, 2 of the 3, or all 3 seasons with Detroit, he didn't play a full season. And 2 of those 3 seasons, he only played 12 games. So he missed 5 games in each of those seasons. Hawk's got to stay healthy. When he's healthy, he's up there with every one of the stud. I mean, he just signed a big contract with the Vikings. He's a stud when he's out on the field. He's got to stay healthy. Here's the thing about Hawk. If you're going to draft him, this is what I'd recommend. Draft him, put him on your IR and stuff. I don't go crazy drafting them too high because listen, what they're saying, and you guys know we follow the Vikings, is that it could be anywhere from week 3 to week 8. Listen, he got hurt. I believe it was in week 15 last year is when he got hurt. That's late in the season. It was an ACL. Week 15 in the season, that was like December. There's a good chance that we're not going to see Hawkinson until November. I think personally, there's not a chance we're going to see him before the bye. I think the Vikings are going to take it very slow with him, especially given the fact that they just signed him to a big contract last year. So if you are going to draft him and he's there later in your draft, go ahead, draft him, stick him on your IR, pick up another tight end on the waivers.
Yeah, I don't see him even when he comes back. I think he'll be eased into it, and then by then it's like really ranking wise, this is probably like his peak, right in this range. Like, if he was playing a full season, I think we agree he'd probably be in our top 5, but he's just not. He's kind of sitting there for a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure that they're depending on how their season goes, who knows if they even play him. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
if they're losing, they might just let him sit all year.
I think they're going to be cautious. Ben Sinnott, listen, this is another rookie. Came out of Kansas State, 6'4", 247 pounds. Commanders drafted him. Listen, Zach Ertz is still, might take some production away from him. I'm hearing nothing but great things about this guy. I think that he's another one of these to me he's a deep sleeper until we kind of see where he is. It wouldn't surprise me that he becomes a favorite of Jaden Daniels. Daniels is another rookie quarterback. Um, it wouldn't surprise me if he relies a little bit on Sonat, especially at the beginning of the year and stuff. Zach Ertz has a history of, kind of the last few years of being hurt. So I don't know where Ertz is, gonna fall in. This is Ertz's first year and stuff, so it'll be interesting to see where he falls out. I'm definitely high on this guy. I think he's definitely someone you should draft, put on the bench, see how he does. Who knows? He could surprise you and be Jaden Daniels' favorite target.
He could be. Like, this offense is set to really kind of draft anyone and just hope Daniels connects with them, because outside of Terry McLaurin, really everyone is. Oh, I guess Dotson's not new to the offense, but everyone else from Luke McCaffrey to Sanat, even Austin Eckler is all kind of new to the offense. So I could see him leaning the way of Sanat. Could also see him going McLaurin, Dotson, but even then, it's like an offense where we could totally see Sanat have a pretty solid year.
And keep this in mind. I want to point this out. Dan Quinn, that came from the Cowboys, he brought in a lot of coaches from the Cowboys staff. Okay. Um, what is the one thing the Cowboys like to use in their offense? They like to use their tight ends. So something to keep in mind. I know a lot of you guys out there may not pay attention to that. I do. So keep that in mind.